What's up, y'all? Today we're going to be talking about Megumi's 10 Shadows technique and specifically about his Shikigami that are destroyed in combat. Does he lose access to those permanently or could he summon them once again? As with most things in JJK, this requires a nuanced answer. So let's first break this down into two categories of Shikigami: Tamed and Untamed. First, let's talk about Untamed Shikigami. These can technically be summoned as many times as you want, even if they've been defeated. However, in practice, that situation doesn't really come up all that often, because if you're summoning an Untamed Shikigami, you're either going to 1, beat it and then tame it, 2, beat it but you used help with friends so the ritual is null and void, or 3, the Shikigami beats you and, game over. However, with a tamed Shikigami, like Megumi's Divine Dog, if that goes down in combat, it can never be summoned again. But that doesn't mean the white Divine Dog's power is just gone for good. There's an aspect of the 10 Shadows technique called Totality, which is the act of incorporating a lost Shikigami's power into your remaining ones. So take a good look at the remaining black Divine Dog here. First, let's take a look at this process as it's described in the manga. So, save for some ignorant ones, and I'll explain what that means in a minute, Fushigoro's Shikigami from his 10 species will never manifest themselves again if they are completely destroyed. However, the remaining technique and power in a destroyed Shikigami will be inherited by the other Shikigami. Which brings us to this guy, the Divine Dog's Totality. This is the black Divine Dog that has been empowered by the white one. So while that seems pretty straightforward, there's still so much we don't know about this, it's hard to exactly pinpoint the mechanics of how this works. So let's tackle a couple of things. First of all, this is the only example of totality we've seen in the anime. There is another example we've seen in the manga, but I'm not going to get into it because it's spoilers, and also we don't really need to get into it. It doesn't really teach us anything new necessarily. So let's address a couple of the question marks here. The white dog has perished, and we know that the black dog got stronger. However, Megumi's other Shikigami, of which he has summoned them since the white dog passed, do not seem to have any buffs from the white dog. So that could be for one of two reasons, basically. And the first is because the black and white wolves are essentially one shadow. Like, of the 10 shadows, the Divine Dogs are considered one. So perhaps because the black dog still exists, it's the only one getting empowered by the white one passing on. Perhaps if the black dog were 2 to pass, then all of the other Shikigami would be empowered by it. Or it could be that when a Shikigami passes, Megumi kind of unlocks a new skill, and that skill is to add specifically the white dog's power to another Shikigami should he so choose. Meaning that the black dog could still potentially be summoned as is right here, and Megumi specifically chose to summon it empowered by the white dog. If this is the case, it could be why we haven't seen any of the other Shikigami seemingly empowered by the white dog. Imagine Megumi gets like a little prompt whenever he's going to summon a Shikigami. It's like, oh, you're summoning Max Elephant? Well, would you like to summon it with Totality? And then he gets a little drop-down menu that lists all of the Shikigami that have passed away, in this case, the white Divine Dog, and he could choose to combine that in the moment. Meaning he could either summon Max Elephant, or if he wants, he could summon Max Elephant with Totality. Now to me, this explanation makes the most sense. It would also make sense in the future Totality that we've seen in the manga. However, you might be saying, well, if that is how it works, then why would Megumi ever summon a non-Totality version? Well, it could be as simple as cursed energy consumption. Max Elephant may require 10 cursed energy for the sake of this example, and Totality Max Elephant might require 100. So maybe you only summon the Totality version when you need it. No, we're not done yet. This gets even more complex. So as some of you might be thinking, we have seen another example of Totality in the anime. Here, the frog has been combined with the owl. And you're right, that is a combination, but it's not Totality. There is a whole nother way Megumi can combine Shikigami, and it's known as the Well's Unknown Abyss. So this is completely separate from Totality, and it doesn't require the Shikigami to have been destroyed. So this is some supplementary info that Gege put out describing more about the 10 Shadows technique, and he talks about the Well's Unknown Abyss, and specifically the combination of Toad and Nue that we were just talking about. So as he describes it, he says the Well's Unknown Abyss is something Fushiguro made up using the 10 Shadows technique, so it can be destroyed without consequence, but it is very weak. So what he means there is when Megumi combines two Shikigami in this way, if they are destroyed, They aren't lost permanently like they would be if it was just the normal summon itself. But the trade-off for this is that it's very weak. Ige essentially goes on to explain that, and continues that if either the Toad or Nue were destroyed on their own, then this combination would no longer be possible. Basically saying that the rules of the Well's Unknown Abyss and the rules of Totality are completely different. We're basically going to have to wait for another one of these supplementary infos to come out, perhaps in the next volume of Jujutsu Kaisen, to maybe get some concrete answers on how all of this works. So that's why even though we saw some of these get destroyed, he can still obviously summon the Toad and Nue. Now you might be wondering about the rabbits, because clearly they're not fused with anything, and Toji violated a ton of them, so how come Megumi can still use the rabbit? Well, they're a unique situation. Because they exist as like a distraction and an escape mechanic, with the rabbits, there's only one particular rabbit that is like the true rabbit, and if that rabbit is destroyed, then Megumi loses that one forever, but that didn't happen. There's actually only one other Shikigami that Megumi has permanently lost other than the White Divine Dog, and that is the snake from his first fight with Sukuna. Wow, this video is way longer than I thought it would be. My Hikari domain video is the only one that's longer, but I appreciate it if you made it this far, and I hope that helps clear things up.